So as some of you know, I've written more than 50 books under a different pen name before I wrote this book. And I get a lot of people saying, why are you writing this book? Why are you changing your author name? Why are you going in a new direction? You've had so much success in this other area under a different name. You know, it's really hard to change author names midstream, right? Like all the people that bought Stephanie Rowe books are gonna be like, I say, babe, I don't know who that is. I'm gonna move on, right? So I get a lot of questions of like, why am I doing it this way? And I wanted to address that because some people change pen names because it's like, oh, it's a slightly different book and I don't want to confuse my readers. It's so much more than that for me. And the reason is like, I spent my life trying to be the good girl. I was the granddaughter of a small town minister where the rules are, you know, whatever other people want from you is how you should be. Like that pretty much defines how you should act and every choice you should make and everything. And I tried really, really hard to be the good girl. And I tried really, really hard to like sand down my edges. But the truth is, I'm a little bit of a whack job. I'm a little bit of a maniac. I have so much energy and there's so much like, you know, power inside me. And I like crush that. People are like, oh, you're too loud. You have to be quieter, right? Like, don't be like that. I actually had a teacher tell me one time, I saw her in the locker room, the coat locker room at my school when I was in high school. I was like a senior. I was like, hey, what's up? What's going on? And after my next class with her, she asked me to stay after. And I was like, yeah, what's up? And she's like, were you drunk the other day? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, when I saw you in the locker room, were you drunk? And I realized that my personality, my true self, was so like off the charts that my teacher, who I really liked and I thought we had a good relationship, thought the only possible explanation for me behaving that way was that I was drunk. I was completely offended because in high school, like I left parties where there was alcohol. Like I was so anti all of that whole thing. And I was like, you know, here it is. I still remember to that day. Like I'm still to this day, like, oh my gosh, my true self was so offensive that it could only be explained by the fact I was drunk. Like, and I was just like being goofy and silly, right? So, but that's sort of what I've lived under my whole life. And I've gone through a rough decade and a half. And part of what that made me do is be like, I gotta feel happy again. Like I gotta feel good again. And how do I get there? How do I stop feeling so horrible all the time? And part of that journey required me to begin to love myself and begin to be who I was and not try to fit in. And I had contracts with 5 different publishers at one point about 10 years ago, and they all fell under at the same time for different reasons. One publisher went bankrupt, my editor left in 2 of them, and my book got lost. The line closed in another. Like they all fell apart at the same time. So after like 25 published novels with traditional publishers, I had no publisher. My personal life was falling apart, and I had to figure out how to go forward. And the way I figured out was to go indie publishing, and because that's when I started to find my voice, when I didn't have agents and editors in the back of my head going, ooh, they're not gonna like that. Ooh, they're not gonna like that. And it still took me 10 years of indie publishing and 10 years of like shedding those walls that I had around me to write the book that basically broke the rules. And this book is freaking awesome. I have my beta readers that have read every book I've written for the last 25 books, and they've all been like, holy cow, this is unlike anything you've ever written. It's amazing. The reason it's amazing is because I was me. I was me. And, you know, I broke the rules in this book. I made up words. I use incorrect grammar. I have scenes that, you know, are just, they're like wacky and irreverent and, you know, but also bold, and they say things. And I have a lot of messages in this book sort of hidden in the sassy dialogue, and there's things that matter to me. And like some of the Baineyisms, the little graphics that I have about having to live a better life, are direct quotes from the characters, because the characters, my main character in it, PB, is like, she's struggling to find her place. And she's struggling to find out what she wants and what she has to do and tell herself, and support from her friends of like, you got this, girl. You may not be the traditional way that this is supposed to happen, but how you are is beautiful. And that's basically kind of the journey when I went on. Sorry, wild animal in the bushes. And I feel like that's a journey a lot of you guys are on, is like, who are you? And is that really okay to be? The answer is yes. Yes. And this book, Rock Your Evil, is a culmination of that journey for me, of me bringing people into my life. They're like, write the book that's you. Write the book that's you. Write the book that nobody else in the whole world can write, because it is so authentic. S.A. Bain, right? So this book is like, it is the bursting free of my true self. It is the bursting free of being able to live authentically you, and seeing how freaking beautiful it is when you do that. So be that way. Read this book and see what it's like to read the book of someone that has come alive, and you'll see the difference. If you run my other ones and you read this, you'll be like, same author, but holy crap. I see the light shining, bursting out of these words, right? And that's how I want to live, and that's how I'm continuing to go forward, and I want you guys to live that way. Burst out of the pages of your life. Shine your light on everybody. Write your version of Rock Your Evil, whatever that is, if that's, not writing a book, but whatever it is for you. But that's one of the reasons why I love this book so much, because it was freaking fun as hell to write the book that I want to write that is so me. Because I'm pretty fun, and I'm pretty hilarious, and I'm pretty clever, and I really enjoyed letting it all hang out. So that's the story behind Rock Your Evil. Read it. If you like it, tell the world, because I'm going out on a limb here with this, right? Like, I have none of my readers know who S.A. Bain is, and I have no publisher, so it is word of mouth that's going to get this story out. So if you've read the book and you love it, tell everyone that you know, spread the word. Let's start a fire in this world for what can happen when you're you and you ignite the fire within you. Rock your evil. Ooh, rock your evil. Rock your evil. Make today awesome. And read Rock Your Evil and be Rock Your Evil.